Good evening, I'm Olivia Mingara.
I'm Lucy Billett, and welcome to HSNN, the History Sem News Network.
This evening, we have a special report on security challenges in the United States. Tonight's focus will be terrorism.
To begin, what is terrorism?
Well, Lucy, thanks for asking. Terrorism is the use of violence and threats to intimidate, especially for political or religious purposes. The U.S. is one of the many countries that has been targeted. Terrorism poses an extreme threat to American citizens. Economically, the U.S. has spent millions of dollars to stop terrorism and intends to spend $5 billion in the future as an effort to help its partners to improve their security and end terrorism worldwide.
Thank you, Olivia. Along with that, in 2002, President George W. Bush created the Homeland Security Advisory System. This system was created as a foundation for a communication structure regarding the risk level of terrorist attacks. You may think that terrorism is an issue that both political platforms could agree on. However, Romney and Obama have different opinions on how to approach the issue. Romney wants to rebuild the military forces in order to create a better national defense system. Obama, on the other hand, is not as assertive as Romney, but wants to create plans for emergencies to recover from a potential terrorist attack.
As you can imagine, the citizens are considerably affected. Public transportation regulations have been tightened since recent attacks, and security cameras, emergency phones, and fire detectors have been increasingly installed.
This all makes sense, Olivia, but tell me, why does terrorism really exist?
Well, if you think about it, terrorism has much deeper roots than what the public sees. The main underlying causes are often a misunderstanding between two or more specific groups, or religious tensions and disagreements. Are you ready, Lucy?
I'm okay.
All right.
Pardon my interruption.
It's okay. Terrorism isn't always about hurting or killing another person, but it's often about bringing attention to a certain cause.
So what you're saying is terrorism isn't just caused by a sudden act, like the video about Muhammad?
Precisely. In addition, all countries around the globe deal with the issue of terrorism differently.
Yes, Olivia, they do. The U.S. uses the Homeland Security System, which focuses on three goals: to prevent terrorist attacks, to prevent the unauthorized use of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear materials and capabilities within the U.S., and to reduce the vulnerability of critical infrastructure and key resources to terrorist attacks and other hazards. Essentially, the government's highest priority is to keep the American people safe. Globally, the UN has the Counterterrorism Implementation Task Force, which addresses the conditions conducive to the spread of terrorism, takes measures to prevent and combat terrorism, helps build other states' capacities to prevent terrorism, and takes measures to ensure respect for human rights for all.
Thank you, Lucy. It's time for a commercial break, but stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll take a question from one of our callers. Is your cat hungry? If so, feed him Friskies, every cat's favorite food. And for dessert, we have Temptations. Every cat is tempted to eat these all the time. Right, Ollie?
Welcome back to the HSNN's Nightly Special on Terrorism. We have an eager caller who has a question for us. Hi, this is HSNN. What's your question?
Hi. What are your specific policy recommendations that the U.S. should implement to address the challenge of terrorism?
Well, that's a great question. To begin, we believe that there needs to be more of an effort on the government's part to promote tolerance towards other religions. A lack of tolerance and understanding is what we really think causes terrorism. We also think that the U.S. needs to urge other governments to promote tolerance.
On a different note, we think that there should be tighter security wherever there is public transportation. Also, the military should stay the same so that terrorist organizations don't think we are planning to retaliate if something does happen.
Thank you so much. That answers my question.
Just remember, though, we are news anchors, not politicians.
Well, that's all we have tonight on HSN. Join us next time when we discuss the price of bacon and if it should really double as they are predicting.
Make it a great night or not, that choice is yours.
Well, that's a great question. To begin, we believe that the U.S. Well,
Lucy, control yourself.
That's what you're supposed to do if you mess up. Is just stop.
You know what?
And
We'll have
wait.
to do this at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
What is terrorism?
Thank you for asking. Well, Lucy, terrorism is the use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce. Start over. Can we read through it once?
Yeah. Begin. What is terrorism?
Well, Lucy, thanks for asking. Terrorism is the use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce.
Let's just
We'll
start,
just take out
we'll
that
just
word.
start at that. Yeah. We'll just start at that paragraph.